Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view, from the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado. Hosted by Art Carlson. At 4'6", liberals fear him, and conservatives love him. He's definitely a giant among men. Now here's your host, Art Carlson.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view. This is going to be a short show due to that it's Father's Day, so many of you are out there celebrating your barbecues, parties, gatherings, what have you. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, stepfathers, and godfathers, which I'm one. Happy to be a godfather to 2 children in the Philippines. You're probably wondering, where's Lloyd? Where's your co-host? Well, Lloyd has an emergency, no power at his house, so he couldn't join us today, but he'll be back next week. We'll have a big show next week. So we're just going to talk about a couple topics and maybe do a freestyle show. Number one, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the press secretary for President Donald Trump, is leaving, which is sad to leave, but I'm thinking that she's probably going over to his campaign, which is going to be ramping up very quickly here. So all I want to do is wish Sarah good luck on her next endeavor and wish her success. She was a great press secretary under Donald Trump. She has a quick wit. She knew how to put a lot of those liberal reporters back in their place. And, you know, I wish her much success, and she's done a wonderful job over there. So, yeah, let's talk about Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She's the daughter of Huckabee, the governor, former governor of Arkansas. Anyway, I can't remember his first name right now, but yeah, she's a quick thinker on her feet. She knows how to throw it back at those liberal reporters who try to call the administration liars and asking stupid questions like, when is Donald Trump going to tell the truth about blah, blah, blah? And it's like, come on. You know, I don't expect him to tell everything. And I give him this caveat that there is some special wording so that the press can't jump on it as a gotcha. So, and plus, what's with the press thinking that everything he says is a lie? I mean, compared to Barack Obama, who just constantly lies, and Hillary Clinton, who is a congenital liar. I mean, you can go all the way back to 1974 when she was part of the Watergate investigation. And she lied to Congress. And she was fired from that committee. So her history of being truthful and factual is not very good. She has a long history, and that's probably part of the reason why she lost the election. She is just so unlikable and bitter. I mean, she's a bitter person. When she came up with that term deplorables, a basket of deplorables. Come on. You don't see Republicans saying stuff like that. But Donald Trump, I give him kudos. I don't think his style is kind of abrasive, but you know what? In this day of age, you have to be kind of abrasive and kind of throw it back at the liberals for the crap that we've been taking for decades, ever since Watergate. I mean, the Democrats have always pinned us with a label of homophobe, racist, sexist, elitist, and all kinds of stuff that are just plain not true. And it really gets me when people say things that are not true about the Republican Party. And what I do is I'll just tell them plain out, hey, you get lying over and over and over still doesn't make it true. So stop with the nonsense and have some decorum and be a little factual in your statements. Just recently we had a parade or a gathering of Republicans, and they were handing out candy to the children. And one of the parents of the children says, "Don't take candy from them. You don't want their candy." Like, what? We're going to poison their candy or give them, there's some kind of drug that's going to turn them into a conservative, a mean conservative. And where are they getting all this? They're getting this from educators. And I could go on and on about how lousy our education system has gotten over the decades here in the United States. I almost married a Filipina who has 2 sons. And I was kind of thinking, it's probably better for them to stay in the Philippines and get a better education there than they would here. At least there they're learning about their country's history, and they're not down in their country. And that's one of the things that I like about the Philippines is, they're proud of their country. The people there, they don't like it when people talk bad. Hey, look at this. My co-host is here. Let's bring him aboard. Let's get Lloyd, the scruffy, grumpy vlogger. Welcome, Lloyd. Welcome to the show. I guess the power was off. Your razor's not working.
Yeah. Let me get
So I'm getting a little echo.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You need to turn your mic up just a bit. You need to turn off the YouTube.
Is my audio working? Oh, wait a minute. Hang on a second. One second here.
All right, we're waiting.
Let me get this set up properly. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now you're echoing.
I still can't hear you. Why not?
You can't hear me? You got your headphone on.
Okay. Let
Yeah, my mic's working. Yeah. Okay, the echo is gone. And now you're frozen up, Lloyd. Hello, Lloyd, the grumpy vlogger. Welcome to the show. Oh boy, it's going to be one of those days, folks. Now I know how Ken feels and Greg feels when things just don't go according to plan. So while we're waiting for Lloyd, yeah, I was talking about the education system in the Philippines and how the people there they don't put down their own country. They don't even like it when foreigners come in and start talking trash about their country because you do that, then you become a persona non grata there. So when you're in the Philippines, don't say crap about their country. It's not a perfect country. It's not a first world country, but you got to realize it is what it is, and just kind of roll with it. So I'm gonna go over here. Let's see what's going on. Well, I tried to get another co-host to fill in, but he's in the middle of the desert in New Mexico. I tried to get Mel Koch to fill in, but he just couldn't do it. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and flip back to here until Lloyd gets his things together. Could be he's got iffy electric issues in his house, so it must be from the flooding and all that rain they've been having over there in Muskogee, Oklahoma, that's affecting his power there. So yeah, another thing about the Philippines is the kids, they all wear uniforms when they go to school. And I think that's something that we should be doing here in the United States. But you got to remember, a lot of the schools there are run by the Catholic Church. So they dress in a uniform, usually a white shirt or a white blouse, what's it? Blouse, a skirt, and nice shoes. And the boys wear the blue or black slacks. And I've seen some of their curriculum, especially the ones prior to high school. They have to learn, well, they've got mathematics, they've got history of their country, and history of what, the Asian region. They don't really touch on, they do touch on some American history because it once was part of the United States as a territory and then a commonwealth before we granted their independence in 1946. So they get a pretty top-notch education, and the kids get out of line, those kids get disciplined by the teachers and the principals there in the schools. Because if it gets back to their parents, well, then the parents are going to have to deal with that kid. But okay, so Lloyd has reset his modem, his internet. We have 2 people watching. What I'm going to do is all right. Talk amongst yourselves. All right, cool. Let's see if Lloyd is back. He's still frozen, so he will join us momentarily. So, getting back to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she put up with a lot of crap, especially when she and her family went out to a nice restaurant only to be heckled by people. I don't even think these people were patrons there. They might have been patrons, who knows, but heckled, and they got kicked out of the restaurant. And it was at I think it was at Red Hen House restaurant in I think it was in Alexandria, Virginia. And talk about karma. Ever since then, the restaurant's closed. It's done. They literally killed their own business with that stupid stunt. What they should have done was they should have taken that person and said, hey, stop making a scene. Get out of here. You don't like this person? She has every right to eat here, so get lost. Go pay your meal and get out of here. No, these were probably people that agreed with them and said, and they just came up with some stupid excuse saying, oh, that her presence is creating a disruption. It's like, there probably wasn't even a disruption if that idiot hadn't made a big fuss about it. And this is what I'm find disturbing about left-wing people who go around harassing politicians who happen to be eating at a restaurant or having an ice cream or attending a movie and getting kicked out of a venue because one person raised a big stink and pointed this person out to him, and other people that are of like-minded probably say, get him out of here, we don't want him in here. And this country is just really going to a bad place. We need to really do something about it. Oh, gee. So it looks like the power took out Lloyd's router. I guess he's not coming back, so I shall persevere and move on to the show. So like I said, this country is really going in a bad direction. I think it really started getting out of control when George W. Bush was president. I think the real stink happened after it was a close election that he won by a few votes down in Florida. I have some liberal friends who to this day still think that George W. Bush stole the election. And people have started to become more and more, less and less civil ever since then. So it's really irritating that people have to act like that. So what I'm going to do is, okay, yep, just got a message from Lloyd. Doesn't look like he's coming back, but hey, Lloyd, thanks for giving it your all, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, your router is okay, that it's not damaged, and if it is, maybe you could get it replaced. The utility service, they fried your piece of equipment. Maybe Best Buy will take it back where you got it, and you could switch it to one that works. So I'm hoping that things work out for you, Lloyd, on your router. Yeah, okay, getting back to George W. Bush and how all of this really started to get ugly. Right after 9/11, it seemed like the country was unified on a single thing. Terrorism was it. And then, looking back, I was sitting there thinking, I wonder how long this is going to last. And you know what? It didn't last very long. It didn't last more than 6 weeks. That the wheels started falling off, and the Democrats really started to get on George W. Bush. And this is when idiots like Cindy Sheehan started camping outside their home in Crawford, Texas. I mean, and that's what really got this whole uncivil behavior going. I have no problem with people picketing outside a government building, or an event where, like George Bush, if he was giving an event at a rally somewhere, and I could see them picketing that or protesting that. But come on, people, we gotta stop going to politicians' private home and camping out outside their house and just making a real mess about this. And then you fast forward it to after Obama was elected and how people started hounding Sarah Palin. You know, that idiot moved next door to her and just was causing a big scene over there. And it's like, come on, folks. And I think this was by design because this is the politics of personal destruction. They want to make it so unpalatable for anybody to want to run for office, especially on the conservative side or the Republican ticket. Because what it's doing is chasing away some really good candidates that won't run because they don't want to put up with this kind of garbage. I mean, I could look back at the recent election a couple years ago here in Colorado. We had some really crappy candidates running for office. I won't mention their names because it doesn't mean anything. But we had a guy running for state representative in my district, and I was thinking about, well, I was going to run for that seat. And then when I found out there was going to be a primary, and I just thought, you know what, I've done those, and I don't want to do that. So rather than be divisive, I said, all right, go ahead, it's your race. Then we find out this idiot had a criminal record. Yeah, he was growing and distributing psilocybin mushrooms. Yes, magic mushrooms. But I give him credit. He raised a ton of money, way more money than the last candidate before him. I won't mention that person's name. I wanted to run, but I hadn't been in the district long enough to qualify to run for that seat. And then we had a candidate that was running for another state representative seat in another district in Jefferson County, and there was a primary. And it turns out this guy had a criminal record, that he was arrested and convicted for selling crack cocaine when he lived in Los Angeles. And he also had a domestic violence record. So luckily for him, he was defeated. So it just really sets a bad precedent. But I am convinced the Democrats they're not concerned about policy or procedure. They want power. That they will do anything they can to make sure that once they get in office, they're going to hold on to that power, and they won't give it up. So what they'll do is they'll start changing the rules to make it harder and harder for the opposition to run. A case in point, in California, when the Democrats took control of the state assembly and had a Democrat governor, they changed the rules on primaries. They made it so it's a jungle primary. So the top vote getter, it doesn't matter which party it was, and the Democrat keeps, what they'll do is they'll run a bunch of Democrats just to dilute the field enough to where one Democrat ends up winning. And that's how they solidified their grip on power in California, and they're on the verge of doing that here in Colorado. And I wouldn't be surprised that in the next session, or maybe even before the next session, that they'll float a ballot initiative to go to a jungle primary. I could really see that happening here in Colorado. That would solidify their grip on power in the state. And what will happen is state by state by state, they'll do this, and they'll make sure that Republicans will never win majority in the state assemblies. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens in Michigan, now that the Democrats have controlled the assembly and the governorship in Michigan. Same with Wisconsin. You know, those are states that have been historically Democrat strongholds. And now that Republicans have won those states, Democrats have realized, hey, we got to do something to turn this around and make sure that that they don't lose control of those seats. Okay, we're down to one person watching. Okay, so let's go on to the next topic. So here in Colorado, we have a bunch of recalls going, and a couple of them have been dropped. One has been dropped because of the resignation of that state representative. We're talking about Galindo up in the Greeley area, in that district, where she resigned because it looked like she was going to be hit with the sexual assault charge, and that was going to really hurt her in the recall, and the Democrats just couldn't afford to. They could lose that seat and still have a majority, but they want to have the biggest majority possible. So she resigned, and her seat's been filled with another sycophant Democrat that's going to vote their way anyway. The other recall is for State Representative Tom Sullivan, whose son was killed in the Aurora Theater massacre back in 2012, I think it was 2012, somewhere around there. He ran on a bunch of promises that he's not keeping, because it turned, that district that he ran in is a conservative district that has been over time becoming more and more competitive. So he was the author of the red flag bill that sailed through the House and the Senate here and was signed by Governor Polis. Now, it won't go into effect until January of 2020. So there's a strong possibility that guns will be confiscated by the police. However, here's the caveat. There are many counties here in Colorado where the sheriffs have stated, hey, we don't care. We're not going to follow that. We're not going to go out and take people's guns away on hearsay from someone. We're just not going to do that. And I don't blame them. And some of these counties have turned into what they call gun sanctuary counties, which, you know, I don't know how legal that is. Ethically, you know, they're supposed to follow the laws that the legislature passes. Our Democrat Attorney General is demanding that these sheriffs resign, but hey, these people, they were elected by their constituents in that county, so not much he could do there. So that recall has been dropped. But here's the kicker. You know, I've been railing against this phony Second Amendment group, Rocky Mountain Gun Owners. Well, they've been taking donations from people. So here's my contention. Are they going to refund those people the money they donate? Or are they going to keep it? I mean, ethically, they should return those donations. But, you know, Dudley Brown is such a crook that he's not going to turn that money in. And if he does, it'll be because of shows like this and other people are putting pressure on him to give the money back. And I'm kind of disappointed that they stopped the recall of him. I think he could have been beat. But the state representative who Tom Sullivan beat, he was against the recall. And there are some people in the Republican Party who think that it's a bad idea. And I'm like, you know what? Here's the way I look at it. You know what? The Democrats used the recall method in a way that helped them out when they didn't want to wait 2 years to get candidates to run for those positions. So why shouldn't we do that? I mean, we did that I think it was around 2012 when they had that gun magazine bill that went through, where it limited how many rounds you can have in a magazine. And 2 people were recalled and 1 person resigned because that person knew that if she lost, that would have, well, I don't know. I think after the recalls, I think the Senate did flip to the Republicans. So she resigned rather than so that the Democrats could fill that seat in. And who did they pick? They picked Rachel Dingalinger Zenzinger, a former Arvada city councilwoman who was Evie Hudak's campaign manager. She got the nod to fill that seat. Zenzinger was defeated by Laura Woods. Laura Woods served did she? No, I don't think she served a full 4 years because of the timing of the resignation. Theoretically, she could have been a state senator for almost 10 years. But she was defeated by Zenzinger in this last election cycle. So, and she's now my state senator, and very liberal. Which brings me to another topic. There's an organization that the Democrats have formed. it's called Emerge. And what it is an organization where they recruit people to run for city council, uh, county commissioner, all kinds of school boards, all the elected uh, offices here in Colorado. They train them, they help them campaign, and what they do is they get them into city councils, and then they help them out there, and then they get them to when there's a vacancy or it's an open seat for state house or state senate. What they do is those people will run for those seats. Now, same thing happened here in Westminster, where I live. We had two state two city council women who one ran for state representative, the other one ran for county commissioner in Adams County. They both won, but what they should have done is, if they were running for those seats, they should have resigned and then ran for those seats. Then the people could decide to replace the vacant seats on the city council. No, what they did is they waited just long enough to where they could resign, and then the city council appoints people to those seats, and guess where they get those candidates from? You guessed it, Emerge candidates have filled those vacant seats again. So, and I was one of the people that went before to try to fill those vacant seats, but sadly I didn't make the cut the first round because so many people ran or put their hat in the ring for those seats. It diluted the pool, so to speak, so that the city council, what they did is Emerge put several people in that mix to where the liberal people, the ones that came from the Emerge Academy, that I call, to fill those seats. So they basically all of them voted for. What they did is they split their vote. Half of them voted for this person, half of them voted for that person. And the lone conservative on the city council voted for his choice, who was a known conservative. Even though he knew that I was a conservative and that I ran for state house and state senate. However, I don't go to city council meetings. That's probably what hurt me in the run, where the guy, Rich Seymour, who goes to a lot of these city council meetings, and that's probably what got him in with Dave DeMott. Dave DeMott, he's doing a great job for the city council. Sadly, the city council is pretty much being run by developers, and they've got these grand schemes to make the city of Westminster into this metropolis, and they got this city center that's just north of where I live, where it's going to be a lot of high-rise apartments and retail there and office spaces. It's going to be kind of like the Denver Tech Center of the North. Only it's going to be more dense housing. So I'm not really happy with that. So, and that's what's going on. So I'm, a little disappointed that the recall for State Representative Tom Sullivan has been dropped. However, I think there's still a recall going for Governor Polis. Now, here's my deal. All right. Say we get a Republican governor in. That person won't get anything done other than he get vetoed a lot of really, really bad bills. He's going to be facing opposition not only by the Democrats, the teachers' unions, and special interest groups, and the media. I mean, it's only going to be marginally better than what we have now. There is a petition going around to put on the ballot to vote on the national popular vote. So hopefully that'll go through, and then we could vote to say, no, we want to keep the Electoral College here in Colorado, which the House and the Senate passed, sailed right through, and Governor Polis signed it, and just really bad stuff going on. So we managed to make it to about 50 minutes. I want to thank you folks out there who are going to be watching this a little later. I want to thank you for coming by, watching this program. I just want to wish you all a happy Father's Day and a great weekend. I'm on vacation for part of this week. I'm going down to southeast Colorado. I've got a project going on down there, so I will be leaving in the morning. So you all have a great Father's Day. God bless you. God bless this great state of Colorado. See you all next week. Bye-bye.